Have you ever tried to stand up and take a step after a stroke, only to feel your calf muscle lock up, your foot twitch uncontrollably, and your whole body tilt backward as if you're about to fall? Many people brush it off as a simple leg cramp, but in reality, it might be something called Clonus, neurological symptom that plays a huge role in why walking feels so difficult after a stroke. In today's video, we're going to break down exactly what Clonus is, why it happens, and why it causes so much trouble in recovery. Because once you understand Clonus, you'll know how to take the first steps toward controlling it, tamed, rebuilding confidence in every step you take. Clonus is a symptom that often shows up when the brain or spinal cord has been damaged. Simply put, it's a condition where a muscle doesn't just contract once, it contracts over and over in a rhythmic, involuntary pattern. It most commonly shows up in the calf muscles, which happen to be the very muscles that keep us balanced and allow us to walk. Let me paint a picture for you. Under normal conditions, when you pull your foot upward, what therapists call dorsiflexion, the calf muscle lengthens smoothly, and then it relaxes. But when Clonus is present, that quick stretch triggers the muscle to fire repeatedly. Instead of stopping, the muscle keeps jerking, almost like a light switch being flipped on and off over and over again. Clinicians usually measure Clonus by counting the beats of the foot. For example, when someone rapidly flexes your ankle upward, if you have Clonus, your foot won't stay still. It will bounce down several times in succession. The more beats there are, the more severe the Clonus. It's important to understand, Clonus isn't a disease in itself. It's a symptom, a byproduct of neurological damage. After a stroke, the brain often loses some of its fine control over the muscles. And without that control, the muscle doesn't know when to stop contracting. Instead of relaxing, it fires again and again. You may not know the term Clonus, but you may know the feeling. That sudden calf cramp when you try to stand up. That unexpected jerk of the foot when it hits the ground. That unsettling sense that your body just isn't cooperating. These aren't just minor annoyances. They chip away at trust you have in your own legs. And once that trust is gone, people often start to avoid walking, avoid practicing, and slowly lose progress in their recovery. That's why Clonus is often the hidden culprit behind stubborn gait problems. It explains why some people can train and exercise faithfully, but still feel stiff, awkward, or unsteady every time they try to walk. So, how exactly does Clonus interfere with walking? Why does it cause certain gait patterns to break down? And why do so many stroke survivors describe it as feeling like they're being pushed backward when they try to bear weight? We'll answer all of that in the next section. Now that we understand what Clonus is, let's talk about how it actually shows up when you try to walk. Because here S. The Clonus, ISNT, just a medical term or something your therapist checks for in a clinic. It directly affects your ability to stand, to balance, and to take each step with confidence. One of the most common ways Clonus shows up is through sudden calf cramps. Imagine putting your foot down, loading weight onto it, and instantly feeling your calf seize up. What's happening here is that the foot is hitting the ground just slightly pointed down. That quick stretch in the ankle sets off the Clonus response, and the calf muscle fires repeatedly. To you, it feels like a painful cramp. Now, here's the tricky part. When the brain senses pain or instability, it naturally avoids it. Without even thinking, many people start shifting weight away from that leg. And this leads to some classic gait deviations. For example, one common pattern is the step 2 gait. The weaker leg always stays slightly ahead, and the stronger leg just steps up next to it, rather than stepping past. It's a subconscious strategy. Our body is trying to avoid fully loading the Clonus-affected leg. Another pattern we see is the foot turning out to the side. By abducting the leg outward, you reduce the stretch on the calf and avoid triggering the Clonus. It's clever, but over time, it creates imbalance and strain in other joints. And then there's knee hyperextension. This is a big one. When the foot hits the ground, pointed down, Clonus kicks in. The calf jerks and the knee snaps backward. Not only does this feel unstable, but it also puts stress on the ligaments and increases the risk of falls. Perhaps the most unsettling effect of Clonus is the sensation of being pushed backward. Many stroke survivors describe this exact feeling. The moment they try to put weight on the leg, it's as if the ground itself shoves them back. That happens because Clonus prevents the body from moving forward smoothly over the foot. Instead of rolling forward, the foot jerks down and stalls your momentum. Think about what that does psychologically. If every time you try to stand or walk, you feel like you're being shoved backward, of course, you're going to lose confidence. You hesitate. You shorten your steps. You stop walking as much, and without practice, recovery slows. So, in summary, Clonus can cause calf cramps. It can make you avoid putting weight on the leg. It leads to gait patterns like stepped 2, walking, foot turning out, or knee hyperextension. And it often gives you that unnerving feeling of being pushed backwards. The good news is, you don't have to live with these effects forever. Clonus can be cured completely as a sign of neurological damage, but its impact on your walking can be reduced. And that's what we'll dive into next. The solutions that actually help you regain control and stability. So we've talked about what Clonus is, and we've talked about how it shows up when you try to walk. Now let us get to the part everyone really wants to know. What can you do about it? Here's the truth. Clonus can't be erased completely because it's a symptom of brain or spinal cord damage, but it can be managed. And when you manage it well, the impact on your walking, your safety, and your confidence can be dramatically reduced. There are 3 main strategies I want to share with you today. 1. Use an AFO that actually fits. An AFO, or ankle-foot orthosis, is a brace that supports the ankle and foot. But not all AFOs are created equal. If yours is even slightly pointed down what therapists call plant-flexed, then your toes will hit the ground first. That quick stretch is like fuel for Clonus. The fix: a heel wedge. A simple wedge under the heel inside your AFO can bring your foot closer to a flat, neutral position. That way, your whole foot lands more evenly, reducing that rapid stretch that sets Clonus off. And listening, you don't have at least 10 degrees of active dorsiflexion. The ability to pull your toes up toward your shin. Then you absolutely need to be wearing your AFO. Walking without it will almost guarantee more Clonus, more cramps, and more instability. 2. Stretch your calf muscles. Clonus loves tight muscles. If your calves can't stretch far enough, every step becomes a trigger. The goal here is to make sure you have at least 10 degrees of dorsiflexion passively. That is, when someone else moves your foot upward. You can work on this with a simple wedge stretch. Stand with your toes up on a slant board, or even a piece of wood under the ball of your foot, and let the heel sink down. Over time, this reduces stiffness, gives your ankle more range of motion, and decreases the tension that Clonus feeds on. 3. Train your tolerance with controlled impact. This one surprises a lot of people. In therapy, I often use jumping drills or controlled impact training to help desensitize the ankle. Now, I don't mean jumping like an athlete. I mean small, safe hops or step downs where the foot learns to tolerate different speeds and angles of contact with the ground. Why does this help? Because Clonus is essentially your nervous system overreacting. By gradually exposing it to different types of foot contact, you teach it not to panic every time the foot hits the ground. It won't eliminate Clonus completely, but it can reduce how disruptive it feels when you walk. Putting it all together, so here's the big picture. A properly fitted AFO with a heel wedge prevents Clonus from being triggered in the first place. Regular calf stretching gives your muscles the flexibility they need to avoid constant tension. And controlled impact training helps desensitize your nervous system, making Clonus less disruptive over time. Clonus doesn't have to control your recovery. With the right tools and consistent practice, you can take back control of your steps, walk with more stability, and rebuild the confidence you may have lost. And that brings us to the final piece. How do we put all of this into perspective and stay motivated for the long haul. Let's wrap it all up in the conclusion. So let's bring it all together. Clonus might sound like just another medical term, but for stroke survivors, it's very real and very personal. It's that calf cramp that shows up out of nowhere. It's that unnerving feeling of being pushed backward when all you're trying to do is stand tall. But here's the key takeaway. Clonus doesn't have to define your recovery. It doesn't mean you're stuck. And it certainly doesn't mean you can't regain confidence in your steps. We've covered 3 important things today. What clonus is: a rhythmic, involuntary contraction caused by neurological damage. How it affects walking, from calf cramps and awkward step patterns to knee hyperextension and feeling unstable. What you can do about it: using a properly fitted AFO, stretching your calves to gain more range, and practicing controlled impact training to desensitize that reflex. None of these strategies are magic bullets. And when you consistently use those tools, step by step, you start to notice changes. You load the leg with a little more confidence. You take a longer stride. You feel steadier. And, most importantly, you stop letting fear control you. Remember, recovery after a stroke isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about finding ways to keep moving forward, even when setbacks show up. Clonus may always be there in the background, but you can learn to quiet its voice and strengthen your own. So, here's my challenge for you. If you haven't been wearing your AFO, start today. If you've been skipping calf stretches, add them into your routine. And if you're ready, talk to your therapist about safely adding small impact drills to build tolerance. Each step you take is proof that you're not giving up, that you're still moving toward independence. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Do you experience clonus? How does it affect your walking? And which of these strategies are you going to try first? Share your story in the comments below. Promise you're not alone. And your words might just encourage someone else on this journey. If this video gave you value, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you know someone struggling with post-stroke walking problems, share this with them. It could make a real difference. Because recovery isn't about going back to who you were. It's about discovering who you can still become. And every step, no matter how small, is a step worth celebrating.